All right, once again, it's showtime, guys. So here's the official explanation of how this pot builds to get bigger and bigger as the show progresses closer and closer to showtime. All right, so to start with, you have 100 booths or 100 artists that are going to be competing, and they all are going to be dropping $1,000 to compete. Okay, so 7 days of competition in one town. It'll be two good sized buildings housing 100 booths, plus some vendors and stuff to provide food and some stuff for the tattoo community, right? Whatever that might be. So at minimal, once we hit those first 50 artists, then the show is funded. Okay, so the other 50,000, if we hit the 100 artists to sign up, now we have an additional $50,000 to back up the rest of the admin costs or whatever hidden fees might arise from, doing a show or doing an operation of this magnitude. All right, so now we're taking half of that 100,000 and we're using that as our budget for the prizes and for judging. Okay, and I want to say that 50K is basically the prize pool. It's really don't have nothing to do with judging, but it's a backup plan. So regardless of whatever happens, if I can book at minimum 50 artists for the very first one to try out the show, okay, to try out the formula and try out the website 100%, the artists and the judges will be covered, okay, regardless. All right, so I don't care if I make money or whatever, I get paid at the end. I'm not expecting nothing until it's all said and done. And that's if I'm successful, okay? So I don't touch no money. It's all done by the computer. So here's a clean explanation. 50K prize pool is built from registrations. That's our baseline. That's our guarantee. But once we pass the 50K, the overflow is not show money. It's artist money. Okay, so the higher we get past the 50K, the more those 20 categories are going to grow in prize pot money, 1 through position 4, first through fourth, right? Which there's a formula for that. So whatever that is, when we set that and we decide that everything's final on the website and everything's complete, that is going to stay whatever that pie is. That's going to be what it is. It's going to be charity, some political stuff that we're trying to accomplish, some missing children stuff that we're trying to do with you artists. And then there's admin costs, judges, the cost of the show. There's a big pie, okay? So every time somebody buys a tattoo, that pie goes and it gets bigger all the way around, okay? Every time somebody signs up for the show, artist, then that 50K or whatever, there's a needle that's going to try to meet us at that 50K. When we hit that part right there, that's all more bonus money for artists in those positions past what our formula has given us, okay? The percentages, first place this is what we're looking at right now. 50%, second place 25%, third place 15%, and fourth place 10% of those category pots. So black and gray, small, that's what the breakdown would be, whatever it is. So you guys can do the math. If it's built up to 5,000, first place is going to win 2,500, right? And then you break that down. Fourth place will be 250 or whatever, or 500, whatever, 500, right? So anyway, 20 categories is what I'm going to try to do. Just makes it easier to do this because I already kind of did this formula recently. So right now this is kind of working for me. 20 categories, 2,500 per category, split first through fourth using the percentages above, which we already mentioned. That's the proposed amount. That whatever overflow does, that's just going to increase those numbers. All right. And once we surpass the 50,000 in artist categories and clients tattooed, our initial 50K that we set aside no longer is needed. That goes back in admin money and it becomes show money. Okay. So, like that, the show can live on, we can expand, we can go to bigger cities, we can do more things. And we have money to begin with the franchising and going to bigger cities and having promoters and tattoo shops sponsor those particular cities' operations. We will build a website and set it up and assign administrative duties, and we'll get it going. So we hit that $50,000 prize pool. Everything past that point is artist money. That overflow builds the pots bigger. Then the proposed amounts using that same formula. The artist earned it and the artist keep it. The show keeps the 100K, the artist generated because the prize pool is already funded. That's transparency, that's fairness, that's the system, right? It's pretty fair, I think. Pretty simple. The judging takes place by the public. Can also add to point scores, VIPs, which are artists and clients that are paying either to get tattooed or paying to participate, can judge and have a final score that they submit and questions that they'll be answering about their session and how they how their experience was, right? So once that's all cleared and done, then the artist will get paid for their bid, right? So then I'm going to explain a little bit on the bidding part. So the clients will find 4 artists that they like out of the artist pool. They'll put them in an order 1 through 4. The first one will have the option to accept that before the other 3 do. If they accept that, then it doesn't go any further. That artist will work with that client and all the way through the end of the tattoo, up to the day of, which they schedule and they work into their calendar, because those categories will be running for the full 7 days. So we want to do as many in each category as possible. We're not going to be limiting any category to just 1 day. Okay. So like this, everybody has a lot of time to do their projects. Everything's timed on their phone. When they log in and they complete, there's a warning, all that kind of good stuff. When they bid and they have this pledge by the client, whatever that amount is, and they're going to bid, they're going to do their little slide button, whatever way it's set up. This way we'll add to charities and whatever, add a little bit more, less pay for them, right? A little bit less or whatever, but they're paying to charities and building up their savings. The other way around, if they go opposite, they're taking more home for doing the tattoo, but less across the board. Okay. Now, when they save up money and they take less for doing the tattoo and more goes to savings and the charities, those artists will have a guaranteed place in a tie, because the artists with that displays less selfishness will have more money in their savings and in charity, and they will favor the tie if the tie is within 10 points for any position of 1 through 4. And you got double, triple ties or whatever, anything in that kind of craziness because of points being really close. Whoever has the point favor that the computer gives is going to be the one that takes that tie. That's the rule. And that's why you have a savings. And at the end, you'll get a 1099, and a good portion of that savings will come back to you. So, and that's not till everything's said and done. Once those go out and everybody gets paid, then administrative people will get paid, and judges are right there with the artists once they complete and everybody's kind of done or whatever, and they're signed off and they're allowed to go rest or whatever. You can get a paycheck, so no more taking time out of from your booth and going and paying double rent to go and judge for somebody else's show, and you don't get nothing out of it but some pictures up on a table with people half naked in front of you. That's all you get out of it. You don't get nothing, some recognition for being up there with a little intro. That's all you get. I've been doing that for 30 something years, and I don't get no special treatment for being there or doing that. They just tell me thank you and hope that I'm not tattooing at the end of the show so that I can help judge. If I'm tattooing, they scrambling trying to find somebody else. And, I respect that. But, we're there to make money. And if the promoter can't figure out how to make sure everybody gets paid for working, then they shouldn't be in that business, or they're taking too much for themselves. So this is what I mean by adding some integrity and some transparency to the tattoo world. Okay, and I'm not picking on anybody or anything. Look, I've been taken advantage of way too long by a lot of people that I helped and I supported. Okay, so this is my way of giving back to the tattoo world and making it a better place, because I earned that position and the authority to be able to do that by staying involved and putting myself out there and, putting the neck out there. Done it many times for a lot of people. And
unknown caller.
It's not good. So anyway, I got to answer this call, y'all. Y'all got a little taste of what's to come. Thank you.